Hello and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we are on the map Canis River. Let's quickly go over the map and then we'll jump straight into the cast. So Canis River has several start positions. This start position at the back in the high ground is a more defensive start position, but you do limit yourself with your speed of expansion due to it being longer to get to the rest of the triple mexes on the map. The other start positions here, two more in the low ground, very close to each other, but you are more open and exposed to early raids. However, your speed at expansion is significantly improved by being closer to the rest of the mexes. Potential other start position is the triple mex here next to the Geo. This is quite often used in team games as a battery spot. Key points on the map is the river that divides the map along its diagonal axis. This is unpassable by pretty much all units with the exception of obviously amphibious units. There are several parts on the map that can be passed. Down near the geo points on both sides there is a low water part that can be passed by most units with the exception of ticks. Then there are central sandbank passes on either side of the map, which are very highly contestable points. Players will generally focus their armies on one of those two locations to defend their side of the map. And so when it comes to Canis River, this map is mostly focused on those chokeholds, and if you can overwhelm your opponent in one of those chokehold positions, you can do very well. Spreading out quickly is very important due to the high amount of metal extractors on the map. Now let's go straight into the cast.
So here we go. Mr. Akumar playing Armada today versus Slicklikevik playing as also Armada. Now, that intro video was pretty much the same as you saw before, but you'll notice that there's a little mini map in it. It looks a little bit janky, but let me know what you think of it. If it's something that you guys prefer we keep in, let me know. Some of the complaints on the intro videos that people couldn't tell whereabouts on the map they were, and so hopefully that little mini map trick should kind of help that. But yeah, just let me know what you think so that I don't know whether to bother with it moving forwards or not. Those intro videos do take a lot longer to do than just doing a straight up recording, so it does mean I'd be able to probably put out less videos whilst I get those created. So it's whether you find them useful or not, or you'd just rather more just general replays. So please let me know. Anyway, on to the actual players. Slick going vehicles here. Got 2 scouts out so far and is just sticking in his base. He started in the pretty normal position these days of just in front of the hill, whereas his opponent Akumar, who has also gone vehicles, has started in the defensive position. As mentioned before, defensive due to the LLT and wall being able to build here, which completely blocks down this side, and with both players going vehicles as well, it's even more defensive because bots can actually walk up here, whereas obviously vehicles can't. Now the meta on this map is a bit hard to say right now, because you do see players going bots due to the ability to walk up places like this, but we do see vehicles being used more often than not, if not transitioned into vehicles. Early on, a bit of scouting going on, but nothing really too much to speak of. Both players just spamming out as many scouts as they can get their hands on to get a bit of early harass on the go, but neither player managing to get any value from their early scout raids at all. Now, we've seen a couple of different options when it comes to this map for well, just ways to play it. As we saw a recent video in that very short 1v1s that we had on the channel, player started here and just spammed grunts out and ended up winning by just overwhelming pressure. But generally, this does tend to be more of a static 1v1 as soon as the lines get drawn along these land bridges, as we mentioned in the intro. But the problem is for a position like Akumar's, it is a lot slower to get there. And we're actually seeing a very slow start here from Akumar. No expansion cons, just using his commander to expand. And it is taking a very long time for Akumar to get off the bat here. Now being basically contained by scouts. Slick is looking for expansion to kill, and there is none. The LLT on this north side will again stop the scout raid, as we mentioned earlier on. And Akumar hasn't managed to get enough scouts up and running that will block any form of attack. He did invest quite heavily into incisors. Sorry, not incisors. So used to everyone going Cortex blitzes, which are making their way towards some expansion of Slicklikevik, but he is now running away that con. He doesn't have enough blitzes here to actually effectively stop this. But you can just see how much more expansion has happened here for a brief second there before those metal extractors got killed. Slick was 100% ahead in metal a second for that very brief time, bear in mind. The first actual decent raid, though, by either player, as Akumar manages to take out 4 metal extractors. He does have a heavy cost of quite a few blitzes to do it, leaving all of the reclaim in the base of Slick. 540 reclaim in the base. The scout line that Slick did have outside of Akumar's base gets cleaned up now, and Akumar has now started to spread out, but yeah, Slick was quite a bit ahead in that front. He's already got a con turret up and running. He was expanded with his commander starting to go this way, but pulled it back due to that raid. He didn't get a construction vehicle, so it's just a matter now of rebuilding those metal extractors. And this one blitz actually may be able to take out this metal extractor and radar as well, which would be a bit unfortunate for Slick. Oh, radar survives, metal extractor didn't. Well, it's not too bad, but in come a wave of scouts. They really want to catch that constructor. They do get the radar. They do not get the constructor, but they do get the radar. Meanwhile, at the same time, I said that again. Self-destruct attempted by Akumar of the LLT, but it doesn't go off in time. And all 3 metal extractors and the LLT go down in exchange for 4 blitzes. And that blitz will die there before getting any value either. Akumar using only his commander to expand. Now finally bringing out a constructor from the base just to rebuild this, but it is a lot slower of an expansion when compared to Slick's. Saying that though, Slick did lose a fair amount of expansion that he did have, but not enough to really write home about. Self-destruct attempted again of an LLT, but not early enough as it goes down in time. The Slick is kind of playing with fire a little bit here, being this close to an enemy's base, knowing where the enemy commander is. He stops moving his units for just one moment and they get surrounded on, and is now running straight towards Akumar's commander. So all of these blitzes will die here. Especially running into the range of that LLT. Managing to get, again, a triple mex, which is kind of keeping him at bay. This blitz may be able to get a free constructor here, but the LLT goes up in time. Is very close, almost taking out the LLT, but just not enough. But look at the sheer quantity of units now that Slick has. Army value advantage of 126%. There's probably enough blitzes here if Mike Rodwell could take down the commander. And you can see that basically Akumar's having to rebuild all these triple mexes, whereas Slick has, had them pretty much the entire time. He hasn't gone down to the Geo yet, which he's now heading over there with his commander. He can't actually build the Geo with his commander, of course, but he currently has 3 construction turrets in the base. He's got prepping for building up a bunch of energy, whereas if we look over here, we see a 4th construction turret going up for Akumar. And again, energy storage for both players. Only 1 energy storage at the moment, though. Slick, though, managing to catch out the one and only construction con of Akumar's there that was heading north. The force that was here that was enough to take on the commander was split, which is what we're seeing here. Running into the LLT that is in that defensive position. No wall was built there to actually stop the units just pathing there to begin with. The expansion force does get, well, the raiding force, sorry, does get taken out and dealt with here with only 2 left. Not really able to get by. We can just see Slickbit here basically trying a bunch of raiding attacks, probing attacks, just trying to see where he can get through the defensive line of Akumar. He knows there's LOTs everywhere, so it's... He does manage to get the LOT, but the LOT doesn't self-destruct before it goes down. But this is just causing Akumar more hassle. Like, Akumar has to go back now and rebuild these LLTs, and everything is just delaying him. It's all about delaying him as much as possible, making him have to go back to places with cons. But the problem is he needs to make sure he's not feeding too much metal. Now, Janus is starting to come out with stouts here for Slick. We see pretty much the same unit composition about to start coming out from Akumar. Well, actually saying that, only a couple of Januses, and we're back to just pure blitzes coming out from Akumar. Let's have a look at the stats quickly. So at this point in time, Slick is ahead on metal a second. Metal produced, Slick is ahead by 1k. Which, to be honest, the amount of time that he had that metal advantage isn't quite as much. Now it is 2k. Army value, he was 100% ahead, but no longer. Build power, Akumar actually has more build power at the moment. An addition of aircraft now to the fight as both players are building an air lab. Akumar a little bit further ahead with that. Slick having to panic build some anti-air, thinking that there's a bombing run coming, but little does he know that it's actually just a scout run. That's it. To be honest, you don't normally see just scout runs. The scouts normally are a prelude to a bombing run, but not this time. And actually, surprisingly, we see Akumar has actually just reclaimed his air lab here by sending those scouts out. He's making his opponent build anti-air, wasting metal, building several anti-airs. So we've got, you know, it's only 160 so far, but if he starts building a bunch of fighters that are there to stop an air attack that just will never come, it ends up being quite a lot of metal you can waste on your opponent. It's all about those mind games in a 1v1. Now Slick combining his forces, sending out his own scout. It is looking a little bit risky here for Akumar. The Januses are struggling to keep up though with the main army force, leaving 2 Januses on their own up there. What did Slick see? Okay, so Slick has seen that Akumar no longer has an air lab. And now both players are just kind of taking it slow. What's funny is we actually saw a constructor here has built an LLT back here to kill the metal extractor. She's like, yeah, I don't have my own way of doing it, but I'll do it this way. But Slick doing a great job at containing Akumar here. He's putting all this force here, forcing him to basically say, hey, you need to pay attention to this, otherwise I'm just going to push straight into your base. Both players, though, transition into Tech 2 at the exact same time. Slick will be a little bit ahead, but there is a big force of blitzes here. 18 blitzes that are going to make their way around to Slick's commander. And it's a bit dangerous, to be honest with you. Does Slick even see that coming? He does now. Need to keep an eye on that, but at the same time, very cautious of this attack here. Akumar's commander is nearby as well. The Geo for Slick will go down. Slick's commander in a dangerous position. Attempts the D-gun. Air transport's coming in. What are air transport doing? The force that's at the bottom of Slick's has been cleared up. Well, no, let me rephrase that. He has cleared up the bottom part of the map. But this is a pretty dangerous attack here. A lot of blitzes. Jax will help stop this, but they are going to get some damage. Not as much as he would have hoped, getting some wins, a single metal extractor. But Tech 2 is well and truly up and running. Tap force coming in the middle. Able to pick up 2 construction vehicles. There is a beamer there, which is just slowly whittling down that Janus, but... free real estate from that beamer, basically. All the numbers are looking blue right now. This tank force will be difficult to get ahead of. Akumar basically pulling his forces up here with the expectation that that's where he's going to go. Again, attempted self-destruct of the LLTs here in an attempt to get some additional damage, but they're not well timed enough and the units are just not getting close enough. All of the LLTs now destroyed. Now, kind of a waste, really, when you think about it. How much metals were put into these? 5, you know, you're talking about maybe quick maths, about 600-700 worth of metal in LLTs there. Just built, and these tanks are just basically rolled over them with little to no care. And then what do you build in that gap? Can't afford really to build beamers everywhere, and beamers just get killed anyway. Now there are some Tech 2 units in this mix here. A couple of Jags. Army value is currently neck and neck, but when you look at the economy stats, it's all blue. There's a Whistlers just down here slowly getting rid of the defensive line that Akumar has built down the bottom. They're just set to fight move. They'll just slowly whittle that away, forcing Akumar to basically have to send something down there to deal with that. Otherwise, they're just going to start getting free metal extractors. Tech 2 energy going up for Slicklikevik here as he's getting the advanced Geo. Getting that surprisingly before a lot of his metal extractors are even up to Tech 2. Currently with 4 metal extractors up to Tech 2 and now moving to hit the safer mexes in the rear. And you see that army has now been drawn down to have to deal with these 2 Whistlers. A whole massive army for 2 Whistlers. And with that move, that's exactly what Slick wanted. And now Slick is moving this army into a better position. Doesn't look like he was actually going to go in though. Maybe a little bit delayed on that. But with that army out of the way, he can now just move through and again get more damage dealt. Very well thought out attack there by Slick, forcing his opponent to move forces to deal with it. Akumar probably made a mistake of moving too many forces. He could have sent just a couple of tanks to deal with that, but instead moved his entire army. And 2 consoles, they're not cheap. Not only that, we're talking about build time as well. Like, he doesn't have a lot when it comes to build time, and 250 metal to be going down the drain, or 500 metal to go down the drain. There's a lot of metal just to lose willy-nilly. Will Slick manage to get the Tech 2 constructor though? He does, as well as 2 Tech 1 constructors. The only expansion pretty much from Akumar going down the drain. And Akumar just desperately fighting to hold on here. A couple of bulls managed to make it through, kill another expansion constructor of Akumar that was working on the Geo. Akumar's calm walking here. We can see his energy tank. Bear in mind that a commander requires 1,000 energy a second to walk, so he's only got 10 seconds-ish left. D-guns go off, managing to get the last 2 bulls. But Akumar now in a bit of a dangerous spot. Commander is aware of now at the bottom. Slick knows where he is, so Akumar needs forces down there desperately. Trying to save the console, but the console is way too far behind enemy lines now to be picked up by an air transport. Akumar spamming out Jags in the hope that they will work, but against bulls, bulls are just a bit too tanky. See how quickly those Jags get killed. Now this is an interesting option here. He's spamming out ticks, probably to get flanking bonus damage. Absorb some of the shots from the Janissaries as well, things like that. Also, we can see here that the tick spam is just completely stopped Akumar expanding to the north, and Akumar is just way too pressured and calls the GG. You are worthy. Ended. Well, I mean, Akumar did a lot that round, killed a lot of units, did decent economy damage, but in the whole grand scheme of things, not enough when compared to Slick. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.